Parties in the suit and their lawyers at the Apex Court to hear a final verdict on the leadership crisis of the All Progressive Congress in Kwara State. Chairman of the dissolved APC Executive Committee in Kwara State, Mr. Balogun-Fulani, through his counsel, Mr. Yusuf Ali, had approached the Apex Court with a motion praying the court to hear the appeal of Fulani-led committee on the grounds that it is a pre-election matter that must be decided within 60 days. Mr. Ali informed the court that the 60 days allowed by law for the appeal to be heard by the court would expire this Friday. However, in opposition to the application, counsel to the national chairman of the APC, Mr. Akin Olujimi, and counsel to the APC, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, told the court that the appellant premised their case on a misconception, saying there was nowhere in the court process where they claimed that they participated in any primary election. As such, it cannot be a pre-election matter. Mr. Fagbemi drew the attention of the court to Section 14 of the 4th Alteration Act to the 1999 Constitution, which stipulates that the records of appeal must be transmitted within 14 days, and from the evidence before the court, the record was transmitted outside the 14 days permitted by law. In addition, he said the record was compiled by the registrar of the court as against the appellant as allowed by law. On those grounds, Mr. Fagbemi argued that the appeal had become incompetent and cannot be heard any longer by the Supreme Court. In the unanimous ruling of the 5-man panel, Justice Olukayode Ariwola agreed with the respondent that the appeal is incompetent, having been filed outside the 14 days permitted by law. The Supreme Court held that the records of proceedings was transmitted from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court after 14 days required by the law for an appellant to do so. The court said by the failure to comply with the provisions of the law, the appeal had become incompetent and liable to be struck out. It therefore dismissed the appeal for incompetence.
They held that they agreed with us that the appeal is incompetent, having not been brought here within 14 days from the date they filed their notice of appeal.
The Supreme Court has the last say on all matters in litigation in Nigeria. And as law-abiding citizens of the country and as a lawyer, I take all decisions of court with unanimity.
With its ruling, the Supreme Court has put to an end issues surrounding this leadership crisis. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.